Welcome back, everybody. Now, through their melodic boast of skillful musical composition and thoughtful songwriting skills, their decade-long journey into self-discovery has just etched into a pivotal benchmark where they're ready to investigate the entirety of their identity and language. I'm talking about the dynamic members of Thesis Za, Ayanda Charlie and Ondela Simakuhle, who are set to release a full-length, self-produced body of work, Sondela, to solidify their artistic perspective. The vocalists and multi-instrumentalists are in the studio with us this morning to take us through their decade-long journey in the music space. Ladies, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show.
Than's for having us.
You look lovely in black, though.
Oh, thank you.
I know black is well, I try. Well, you know what they say, black is the safest color.
Absolutely.
I'm going to start with you, Ayanda. So how did you guys meet?
We met at Res. We both went to UCT, and I was culture rep when we met, and I was trying to put together an event where a band was going to perform. It was going to be a once-off thing, but Ondela made me sing. She said she wouldn't perform if I wasn't going to sing with her. Okay. And we've been singing together ever since.
So, Ondela, what is it that you saw in her that made you decide that, you know what, let's do this?
Well, like she said, we live together, and when you're in Res, you can hear people singing in the shower. So I had heard, and I had proof. And like she said, it was a very last-minute thing. So I was like, well, I mean, we can do this, but the condition is that you do it too, because she has a beautiful voice. And so I felt it needed to be heard.
Yes, yes. So just looking back, how would you see this duo compared to now? I mean, what's the difference? Have you guys grown? And how have you grown over the years?
No, we've absolutely grown. I think not only have we grown personally, I think in our confidence as performers, because we never really intended to be front people for anything. But we have also grown, I think, in the way that we make our music. We're very confident in what we're making, and we know exactly who we are. I think Ondela and I are perfectly paired in the sense that, like, whatever I'm not, you know, aversed in, she is. And we just kind of, we fit. We fit, and I think so, if anything, we've grown, we've 100%. Grown. The production value has grown because over the years we have resources to make the music we want to make. But I think more than anything, as partners, we know exactly what we're doing together, and we have a formula.
Okay. Now, Ondela, just take us through some of the achievements so far and some of the hurdles you've encountered along the way and how you managed to counter those hurdles.
So wow, it's been a long journey, and a lot has happened in that journey. We, in 2019, made the Mail and Guardian Top 200 South Africans for songwriting, so that was an honor for us. Especially because we hadn't made a full body of work for people to consume. So to get recognized that early in our career was something really special. We won the Ovation Award, the Standard Bank Ovation Award, at the 2020 National Arts Festival on the Fringe stage, which was also something really nice because, I mean, it was in the middle of lockdown. People couldn't go to Grahamstown Arts Festival and enjoy the music the way that they used to. And we were relatively new in the space as well. And to kind of launch ourselves at that festival virtually, it was the first time for us. And so anything, you know, was possible. And for us to be recognized for that was also something really special, because putting that together as, you know, actual makers visually, so to speak, was a challenge, and we worked with an incredible filmmaker as well on that, and in Nkosi, and it was a nice cherry on top for the hard work that we had put in. And then, of course, before everything kind of closed right up, we had actually just come back from performing at the Show Me Festival in Zurich, Switzerland, at the top of 2020. So that was also, I mean, like I said, without anything really to support this new face, these new faces in music, particularly coming from South Africa. It's such an amazing and iconic space, which is Jazz Moods Club in Switzerland, was amazing.
And how do you find people in Switzerland are receiving your music? Is it the same way they South Africans receive your music?
It's the same in that it's warm, they're open to it. It's surprising because we sing primarily in isiXhosa. So people, you know, don't understand what you're saying, but they understand musically what you're doing, and obviously emotionally as well. So that...
Well, it is a universal language. I mean,
it is, exactly, you're right. So
whether you
really
understand or not, but music is just music.
100%. So that's what we found, is that people are really open, I think, really across Europe to our music. I think our analytics show us that every month, that people are not only open, but like hungry for what South Africans and Africans at large have to offer.
And I think it's interesting because obviously we write in our native language,
Yes.
and then to juxtapose that with very classically charged compositions, which people will hear in the album when it comes out as well. I think that's interesting for them too, which is, you know, probably a nice end for us.
Sure. Let's talk about the single you released last month. Is it Kosi?
Kosi.
Kosi, yes.
Well, Kosi was our first single out of our upcoming album.
Yeah.
And it's essentially a song that we wrote to take the time to tell, firstly, ourselves the story of our generation and what it's like, it has been like to be a young adult in South Africa, right? Growing up full of hope and then feeling at times, most times, that there wasn't much prospects for us because, you know, there's a lot has fallen apart in our in our young adulthood up until now. So it was about, you know, it's set as a conversation between yourself and an ancestor, trying to tell the story of what's happened over your lifetime, and trying to make sense of how things could be this way, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there are many positives, but there's also a lot of negatives. And I think with the protest action we've seen that young people take on over the past, in this decade alone, never mind historically, we felt like it was important to make a song that encapsulated our frustrations.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right, now, so take us through what we can expect from the upcoming project, Sondela, in terms of genre and in terms of sound.
Our sound is very consistent with what people have known us to be.
How would you define it, first of all?
Definitely, I mean, the term that we coined is Xhosa classical folk, because it is really just infusing two of these worlds that we're very, very proud of. And so they can expect that from a sonic perspective. And then I think from a content perspective, like Ayanda said, I think we really focused a lot on our own experiences and the collective experiences of South Africans in this time. And so I think the work that people can expect is really just to reflect the times that we're living in. But it's a full kind of body of work, right? With, I mean, encapsulating, I think, the full spectrum of being a person. So there's love, there's complicated love, there's, you know, really delving into our history. And I think people can really expect to have a good time listening to this album in the winter.
You guys are such a big deal. That I can assure you. You are a big deal. You are a cherry on top. You know, and the fact that you decided to, you know, focus on Xhosa in the way of expressing yourselves sets you apart. I mean, why is it so important to use a native language to express yourselves musically?
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all, for calling us a big deal. But I mean, this Xhosa is the language of our lives. Like, we've lived our lives speaking Xhosa with our loved ones. And so it felt right, if you're going to write about your life and your experiences, to do it in the language that you live your life in.
Yeah.
So it felt, it's just authentic. And I feel like we just, there's so much to reference there. So we're not the first ones to sing in Xhosa in this country. And there's such a legacy of other Xhosa musicians and a tradition that we felt like there's so much wealth that we could, you know, take from if we went that way, as opposed to the other.
And, you know, language, especially native language, you know, is a medium of originality, how you can express yourself in the best way that you can. You know, I'm so itchy now to hear this. When can we expect a release?
The release of our debut album is this coming week, Friday to be specific, and we're really excited. It's been a long time coming, and we've really put our all into this one, and so we're really excited for people to hear it.
Yeah, and in the meantime, they can stream Kosi and Delishwa, which are currently out. Yeah.
Okay, so how do your fans connect with you?
ThesisZA everywhere, ThesisZA on Instagram, Facebook, and then, of course, if you want to get in touch, ThesisZA.com.
I've always wanted to ask, why ThesisZA?
It's, I mean, I think from this interview you might can tell that we fuse a lot of different influences, and we pick up from a very wide scope of musicians, and so it feels like, just like you would a dissertation, like something you've put together over the years, even through our individual lives, that now when we finally formed this group, it felt like we were sharing everything we had learned over the years and trying to offer something new or different to the various traditions of music.
So it's basically a melting pot of musical influences that you've garnered over the years.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely amazing. Ladies, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's been great.
And I certainly hope that you'll be coming back on this stage to perform Sondela?
100%.
We will.
All right.
We will.
Thank you. All right, that's members of Thesis Za, Ayanda Charlie and Ondela Simakuhle, and we've been speaking to them about their new music project.